And as we're walking, I'll never forget it, there was a little girl next to me. She was wearing a white dress. I'll never forget that. Probably 8 or 9 years old. And as I looked down at her, I was just shocked by how small her shoes were. This little girl was wearing these shoes that were way too small for her feet.
This is Kenton Lee. In 2007, Kenton traveled to Kenya after recently graduating from college. It was a decision that changed the young American's life beyond anything he could have ever imagined. While working at a small orphanage, Kenton experienced the desperate poverty children had to endure in their daily lives.
It's tough for kids in developing countries and in countries where they don't have adequate sanitation. It turns out the kids grow up in a context of really extreme poverty.
It was particularly heartbreaking for Kenton to witness children walking around in totally inadequate shoes, often too small for their feet. That day, Kenton knelt down next to the girl in the white dress.
And right then and there, right in that moment, I thought, wouldn't it be nice if there were a pair of shoes that could adjust and expand their size? Wouldn't it be nice if there was a pair of shoes that could grow?
But why are shoes so important? First and foremost, the health risks of inadequate shoes or having none at all are very real. With no protection, children are prone to catching soil-transmitted diseases through cuts and injuries on their feet. Insects known as jiggers pose a particular danger to unprotected feet. These nasty parasites burrow into the skin, multiply, and cause body parts to rot if left untreated.
They grow up in a really dirty place, and then for most of them, they don't have enough sanitation, enough clean water, enough clothing, or enough shoes to protect them from the places where they live.
To make things worse, children without shoes or adequate footwear are often denied access to schools. Without a proper education, it becomes extremely difficult for kids to lift themselves out of poverty and follow their dreams. Around 300 million kids worldwide don't own a pair of shoes, and countless more have shoes that don't fit properly. While a number of charities send shoes to impoverished countries, children quickly outgrow them and never have them replaced. In any case, these sobering statistics left Kenton in shock. Determined, Kenton returned to his native Idaho and set up the Shoe That Grows scheme with a dedicated group of friends. Initially a side project, their organization grew into something much bigger.
I'm a part of an organization called Because International, and our first project was trying to create a shoe that could adjust and expand.
However, Kenton's team was met with resistance from the very start.
So they said it can't be done and that it's not a good idea. No way this will ever work. But we didn't listen, and we just did it anyways.
Indeed, it was no easy task for Kenton and his team as they had to dedicate much of their free time to the cause. The road ahead of them was long and required painstaking efforts.
And we jumped in together, and it took us 6 years. 6 years of trying to make the design, trying to get that first prototype, trying to make a first batch of these growing shoes.
But they finally did it. They created the Shoe That Grows, a shoe that expands to 5 different sizes and lasts for years. The sole is made of compressed rubber, very similar to tire rubber. The rest of the shoe is a high-quality leather. In the fall of 2014, Kenton and his team launched their first official batch of 3,000 shoes. Despite this achievement, Kenton still considered the Shoe That Grows to be a hobby, a side project. But that all changed in April 2015.
So 5 years ago, we accidentally went viral. We had a story come out online about our shoes, And so many other websites picked up the story. So many news outlets and media were wanting interviews with me to talk about the shoe that grows. It just took off overnight.
With increased global support, Kenton was able to get the local population involved in the project. This is how Japheth Apondu, who himself grew up in the slums, became program manager for Kenya.
And right now I'm out here doing what I normally like doing best, meeting the kids. I'm heading to one of the locations that a group of kids will be benefiting from the awareness of wear a pair.
At this education center in the slums of Nairobi, the children are either orphaned or have parents with no money at all. While these kids have had a tough start in life, a simple pair of shoes that fit can begin to put them on track for a brighter future. As operations expanded, so too did the number of shoes manufactured.
That now, in the last 5 years, we've distributed more than 300,000 pairs of the shoe that grows to kids in over 100 countries.
The shoes have helped these children improve their health, attend school more frequently, and feel more confident. Most tellingly, all of these factors have given impoverished kids the opportunity to dream of a better future, like Precious Baraka, a 10-year-old schoolgirl from Kenya.
I wear my shoes because they protect me from getting gas and to be a talented dancer. I love dancing because dancing makes me happy.
To celebrate his organization's 10-year anniversary, Kenton took a trip to where it all began, Kenya.
It is so surreal and amazing to be back in Kenya. When I was here 10 years ago, I was by myself. And now being here with over 40 people on a trip, it's just unbelievable. 10 years ago it was just me, and now it's so much more.
There was a lot of meaning behind Kenton's trip to Kenya. In his view, the best solutions can only be found when you get up close and personal with the problems at hand.
Because International, our mission is to use products as solutions to alleviate poverty. But I'm a big believer that innovation happens up close. When I lived in Kenya, just for those few months, I was there and I was up close to it and I could see it. And I really think that's the only reason I had the idea for the shoe that grows.
Kenton's organization bases its work on practical compassion. But what does this mean in practice? For Kenton and his team, it's not about grand gestures, but the small things that make a big difference to someone's everyday life. Driving an elderly neighbor to the store, picking up their prescriptions, carrying out repairs around their home. This all may seem trivial, but these are small things that have a huge impact on the elderly neighbor's life. That's practical compassion. In the same way, Kenton created a simple adjustable shoe to make a big change to children's lives around the world. For example, the shoe that grows gives young people access to education, which can greatly improve their future prospects. Jose Jr. attends the same school as his sister, Precious.
At morning, I always prepare myself with the uniform I go to school. The favorite thing to do at school is reading storybooks. I like learning social studies because of histories.
That's George, a friend of Jose Jr. and Precious. They all have big plans for the future.
When I grow up, I want to be a footballer. I want to be seen in the TV, in the television. Being a dancer is what I wanted when I was a small boy. The first time I saw my sister dancing and then I started learning to dance. It always makes me happy.
When there's hope, anything is possible. The children seem to love their new shoes, shoes which have changed their lives.
I like these shoes because they expand, and even when you have a big foot, you can wear it also.
What a ride it has been for the Shoe That Grows. This started out as a side hobby for Kenton and his friends. It was something they were incredibly passionate about, but they never dreamed it would become the worldwide movement that it is today. Along the way, hundreds of thousands of kids have benefited from the scheme and can now look to a brighter future.